All right, we're on page 39, vocabulary bank, collocations. You know what collocation is? Collocation is a collection of some words which come together and make some meanings, specific meanings. 1. Study the collocations below. Resident, I'm reading this part. Resident as a noun, residential adjective. Residents only. For example, the parking is for residents only. It means no passengers, no travelers, no tourists can use the parking. This parking is for residents, people who live in that apartment building or in that residential complex or area. Residential area or residential district. Residential area or residential district is an area in which there are buildings for people to live in. You know, there is no company, there is no industry, no factory. People just live there. Residential building. It means in that building there is no office. There are apartments for people to live in. Excuse as a noun. Collocations. Valid excuse. The excuse that is valid. You know, it's not lame. As you see this one, lame excuse. They are just the opposite. Lame excuse is an excuse of lack of thought. You know, it's not appropriate. But valid excuse is an appropriate. For example, you are late for work, and when you arrive at work, your boss asks you where you were, and you just make up an excuse and say, I overslept, for example. But your boss doesn't accept it. What does it mean? I overslept. So lame excuses are not acceptable. Make up an excuse. Make up an excuse to, you know, when you are in a situation that you have to give an excuse, you make it up suddenly, you know, quickly. Think of an excuse. Run out of an excuse. Run out of means finish. Finish. You know, you have seen the students at school when they are late or when they don't come. They come up with some excuses, and for example, once they say I lost my grandpa, the other time they say I lost my grandma. You know, their grandmas and grandpas die for several times. You know, once they don't know what to say, they have finished excuses. All right, a rational adjective. Irrational is the opposite. Rational means logical, irrational, illogical. Rational explanation, rational decision, rational conversation. Think rationally. Rationally is the adverb. Think rationally, logically. Irrational fear. For example, the fear of darkness. It's irrational. You know, it's not logical to think there is something in the darkness, in a dark room. You know, lots of people are afraid of dark room. They can't go into the dark room because they think there is something there. I don't know. It's because we don't see, we fear. That's an irrational fear. Awkward. Awkward question, awkward silence. Put somebody in an awkward position. Awkward question, for example, if someone asks you, how much money do you have in your pocket? Or how much money do you have in your bank account now? So that's an awkward question. It's not related to anyone. It's it's none of anyone's business how much money you have in your bank account, and you feel uncomfortable with the question. Awkward silence. Sometimes when someone does something wrong and everyone is silent, such a heavy silence, awkward silence. Put somebody in an awkward position. For example, if I ask a girl in front of other people to marry me, I ask, will you marry me? So I have put her in an awkward situation, awkward position. This is not a question to be asked in public. Okay, promise. Make a promise, keep a promise, fulfill a promise. So make a promise means you promise somebody to do something. If you keep your promise, you won't go back on your word. You will try to do it. Fulfill a promise, you keep your promise and you do it. So fulfill and keep can be synonymous. Break a promise, just the opposite of keep. People shouldn't break their promises or the promises they make. Empty, hollow, false promise. To make a promise that you cannot fulfill. That's an empty promise. If I promise, to give you $1 million till tomorrow, so I have made a very empty or hollow or false promise. You cannot find 1/100th of that money in my pocket. So next one is support. Give support, offer support, win support. So if you give support, you support somebody. If you offer support, you offer to support them. Win support. If you win someone's support, you persuade them to support you. For example, if you have a business, if you want to start a business and you need some financial support, you may go to someone, to some, let's say, stronger businesses, and ask them to support you financially. If you win their support, they will give you support. Withdraw support. Withdraw support is when they, in the hospital, they stop and remove those various devices from a patient because they have lost hope about him. They use those devices to keep him alive, for example, but it seems he's not going to retrieve to life, so they withdraw support. They stop keeping him or her alive. Unanimous support, unanimous, is agreed support, is an agreed support. When people in a group, all the people in a group agree to support somebody, so they will give a unanimous support to him or her. All the people to agree to support somebody. Next one is throughout. throughout the world, throughout one's life, throughout Asia, throughout the country, throughout the year, all over. Throughout means all over. Throughout the world, all over the world. The coronavirus has spread it out throughout the world, or has spread it throughout the world. I have never lied throughout my life. I don't know, and so on and so forth. Occasion. Occasion means a specific time, situation. On occasion, on a specific situation, on, for example, third occasion, on 3 occasions. A rare occasion. A rare occasion. For example, you are looking for an apartment to buy or rent, and you refer to those real estate agents, and when they show you an apartment, they say, this is a rare occasion, you cannot find a better apartment with the money you have. So they try to persuade you to rent it. Okay, so a rare occasion. Next one is many or several occasions. Many occasions or several occasions. Clear? Celebrate an occasion. For example, you have got a promotion in your job and you celebrate this occasion. Mark an occasion. Mark here has the same meaning as celebrate. For example, the couple had a huge party to mark the occasion of their 10th wedding anniversary. Okay, to celebrate something in order to, for example, make it memorable. And suit an occasion. Suit here means be suitable. For example, this is your interview day and in the job. You know, you are invited for the interview, and it is your first appearance in the workplace. You shouldn't, you know, get dressed casually. You know, it doesn't suit this occasion. You have to change you have to dress up. You have to dress smartly, because that suits this occasion. Campaign. You know, campaign. Launch or start a campaign, lead a campaign. Election campaigns, presidential campaigns, political campaigns. You know, when there is elections, all the candidates try to launch campaigns in order to attract people's votes. Presidential political campaigns. In political campaigns, for example, one a parliament party tries to beat the other one, or they advertise for the things they have done. A campaign for or against. A campaign for something. So this is a campaign that supports. A campaign for homeless women. The campaign that supports, you know, is targeted to or is aimed at supporting homeless women. A campaign against, so it is the opposite. They try to attract people to fight something. A campaign against drug abuse. All right, and next one is goal, main goal, ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is the last goal, you know, the last and most important one. Short-term goal, long-term goal, have, set, attain a goal. Attain a goal means obtain, you achieve what you set. set a goal, so you plan to get something in your life. That's setting the goal. And in order to attain it, in order to obtain your goal or achieve or realize, you try hard. Work towards a goal. So work in order to achieve your goal, you have to work towards it. And the last one is culminate. If you remember, we said culminate in or with something. For example, months of hard work culminated in success, or culminated with success. Okay, let's move on to part 2. Complete the sentences with one of the words in the table. Alright, number 1. I took a job as a teacher with the long-term goal of becoming a principal of a school. Number 2. Local people, I'm reading this one. Local people have given us a lot of support in our campaign. Have given us a lot of support in our campaign. Number 3. A laugh can help people over an awkward situation. Over an awkward situation. 4. The company has launched an advertising campaign in the hope of attracting new customers. Advertising campaign. 5. The disease spread rapidly throughout Europe. The disease spread rapidly throughout Europe. Number 6. What's your for being late this time? What's your excuse for being late this time? Maybe what's your lame excuse for being late this time? Number 7. I have seen Jack with them on several occasions. On several occasions. Number 8. A series of events for teachers and students will culminate in a Shakespeare festival next year. It means they are working on something in order to, for example, take part in a Shakespeare festival next year. Number 9. It is impossible to have conversation with him, to have a rational conversation with him. A rational conversation. It's impossible to have a rational conversation with him. Number 10. It's understandable. The child considers himself safe in the residential street. The child considers himself safe in the residential street. A street in which, for example, there is no stranger. All the people are residents, and so children feel safe there. Number 11. She made to visit them once a month. She made a promise to visit them once a month. Okay, we're done with the vocabulary bank. Let's get back to page 3, I suppose. Okay, back to page 3. grammar, articles. You've certainly studied articles and you know about them. Articles consist of a or an and the. Sometimes we don't use any article and we call it zero article. Look at the words underlined in the sentences below. Match sentences A to F with the rules below. Okay, A. The BBC liked the question and found the answer. B. A research group called ICM asked 1,002 people how well they know their neighbors. C. Men are less likely to say they know their neighbors than women. D. Here are a few of the best. E. We moved into our house in Leeds 3 years ago. F. I'm a police officer. Okay. You know, we use a or an. We know them as indefinite articles, the articles that are used for unknown words. A or an are used for unknown words. For example, I saw an accident when I was coming home. An accident. That accident is unknown for us. There is no information about it. We use a or an for job titles. I'm a teacher. I'm an engineer. I'm a pilot. He's a writer. She's an artist. They are actors. He's an actress. She's an actress, for example. The is called definite article. It is opposite of indefinite. If indefinite was unknown, definite is known. So we use the for something we know. Now, this known thing can be something that is mentioned for the second time. I saw an accident when I was coming home. In the accident, there were three cars involved, for example. The accident. The second time I mentioned, so it is known. We have information about the accident. Or we use the in sentences in which we have the names of oceans, seas, I don't know, rivers such as the Nile, the Danube, the Indian Sea, I don't know, the Pacific Ocean. We use the before superlatives. He's the most hardworking student in the class. Here is the prettiest place in our town. I don't know. This building is the highest. We use the before, some words in, in some expressions like in the morning, in the afternoon, on the weekends, and so on. We are going to talk about, it in details. And also we have zero article when we don't use any article. When we use plural nouns. For example, there are monkeys in the zoo that have been shipped from Africa. There is a monkey, there are monkeys. We use zero article, or in other words, we don't use any article when we talk about things, or we use nouns in their general meaning. For example, doctors earn a lot of money. For doctors throughout the world work hard. Okay. I use doctors in general meaning, so it is plural, and I don't use any article before it. Let's go to the rules, and then we will have more practice. Use a or an. So we are going to give example of the previous sentence. Use a or an. The first time something is mentioned means new information. So B is the example. The research group called ICM asked 1,002 people how well they know their neighbors. With jobs, we use a or an, such as the sentence in F. I'm a police officer. Use the. When we know which one we are talking about, the BBC liked the question and found the answer. The question, so it is clear which question they are talking about. With superlatives, in which one do we have superlatives? In D. Here are a few of the best. Before superlative adjectives, we use the. And 3, use no article to talk generally about people or things. C. Men are less likely to say they know their neighbors than women. Men in general. And with most names of places, E. We moved into our house in Leeds 3 years ago. We don't use any article before proper names. Names of people, names of cities, names of countries. There are some exceptional names of countries before which we use the. They are specific. For example, the United States, the United Kingdom, they are a collection of states and some countries. The Netherlands, the Philippines, they are a collection of islands. Otherwise, we never use an article before them, like Iran, America, Switzerland, I don't know, Japan, and so on. Okay, let's practice. Complete comments below with a or an, the, or no article. So, my neighbors have a cat. It's the first time we are using it. My neighbors have a cat that climbs through my window and terrorizes my goldfish. Terrorizes means frightens. Frightens my goldfish. It's so annoying. I'm going to buy a dog next week. It is the first time dog is mentioned, so A is used. Next one. I'm reading this one now. My neighbor is a doctor. Job. He keeps himself to himself. Once my son got sick and I asked the doctor, it is the second time we mention it, the doctor to come and have a look, and he said, my office hours are from 8 until 6. Charming. Now, when you want to criticize or when you want to sound sarcastic, you can use charming, whatever. Next one. I have the nicest, it's superlative. I have the nicest neighbor in the world. I really get along well with her. She often invites me over for dinner, which is great because she's a professional chef. Job title, a professional chef. Next one, 7. People are funny. Which people? People in general, so no article. People are funny. My neighbors here in Birmingham, name of a city, no article. In Birmingham, have an apple tree that hangs over my garden. Once some apples fell onto my grass and they came around to collect them. Again, people are funny are used ironically, sarcastically, to show disapproval, show that you are annoyed by them. Next one. Here. My neighbor is an old lady who lives on her own. Alone. My wife and I made friends with her and sometimes do favors for her. The old lady is always really grateful. Grateful is someone who appreciates. If you do something for somebody and they are grateful, they thank you. Next one. I'm sure that I'm not the quietest person in the world. The quietest. It is superlative. But my neighbor is so noisy. She's always playing extremely loud music. I can't escape the noise. Which noise? The noise that my neighbor makes. So it is known. It is definite. We use the. What is wrong with people? That's it. Second part of grammar of this unit is quantifiers. Quantifiers are the words like all of, some of, few, a little, no, none, plenty. These words are quantifiers. You know, they depict, they show the quantity of or amount of something. Let's read the sentences. 1. The topic was very popular with lots of BBC listeners. We are going to read and underline the quantifiers. So in number 1, it is lots of. 2. The topic provoked plenty of comments. Plenty of means many. 3. Here are a few of the best. A few is the quantifier in the sentence. 4. We reassured him we had no children. We reassured him we had no children. No is the quantifier here. Number 5. We could all knock on everyone's door. All is the quantifier. All of us. Number 6. Many people don't know their immediate neighbors. In this one, many is the quantifier. So, part 7b. Look at the underlined words above and answer the questions. So 1. Which mean a large number or amount? So we can say lots, lots of. We can also use a lot of or lots of. Lots of, plenty of, and many. It's a large number or amount. Number 2, which mean a small number or amount. A small number, we have number 3, a few. That's it. No one else. Number 3, which means none. So clearly in number 4, no means none. You can use none at the end of the sentence, but you can't use no. For example, I asked for bread. There was none. Number 4, which 2 quantifiers can only be used with countable nouns? Countable nouns, we have a few and many that can be used with countable nouns. Okay, language bank. Let's move on to the language bank. All right, here we are. Unit 1.1, articles and quantifiers. Articles. I'm reading here. Use an indefinite article. The first time something is mentioned, we talked about it, before singular nouns. She is watching a movie, not 2 movies, a movie, 1 movie. With jobs, I'm a doctor, he's an artist. Use the or definite article when there is only one of the thing. I see the sun. They are unique. The sun, the earth, the moon, the sky. When something has been mentioned before, the mouse that I was talking about was huge. The mouse, I saw a mouse in the kitchen. The mouse was huge. This is the second time. With seas, oceans, rivers, and country names that are plural or use extra words like kingdom. For example, the river Danube, the Pacific Ocean, the United Kingdom. I told you if there is no reason for using the with the country name, we never use any article. Next one, before the names of some areas, such as the south of France, the coast of Italy. Next one with superlatives. Ali was the greatest boxer. Next one with some defining expressions, such as the first or the only. Next one, in some phrases with prepositions, such as in the morning, at the end, by the next day, and here, with dates in spoken English. For example, the 5th of June. When you're writing, you say June 5th. When you want to say something, talk about dates, you use the 5th of June. And no articles, 0 article. To talk generally about things or people. Doctors make more money than nurses, for example. With most names of towns, cities, and countries. Most of them, maybe 90% of the cities, towns, and country names are used without article. Next one, before plural nouns. I bought 6 bottles of water. Not a bottle of water, I bought 6 bottles of water. In some phrases with prepositions, on Monday, at work, at home, for lunch, on foot, And the last one is with sports. I like tennis. He plays soccer. Something that was not mentioned about the, we also use the before musical instruments. I'm going to learn how to play the piano, the guitar, the violin, and so on. How about quantifiers? So, all means everything or everyone. We can use it with or without of. All the people here are friendly. All of the people here are friendly. None and no can mean zero. We use none plus none of plus noun or pronoun. We use no plus noun. Without the article or possessive adjectives. None of the movie theaters showed the movie. There are no reasons for this. Okay, let's go to exercises. Number 1, find and correct the mistakes. There is one mistake with quantifiers or articles in each sentence. Number 1 here. Why don't you come and join us? There are plenty the seats. There are plenty of the seats. We need of after plenty. Number 2. Bobby's friend is engineer. Bobby's friend is an engineer. Bobby's friend is an engineer. Number 3. Thousands of people were at the game, so there was lot of noise. There was lots of noise. There was lots of noise. Or there was a lot of noise. 4. Yesterday we saw a doctor about my illness. Yesterday we saw a doctor about my illness. Fortunately, a doctor said it was nothing serious. Fortunately, the doctor said, not a doctor. It is the second time. Number 5, Lila was hungry, so she ate a bit bread. She ate a bit of bread. A bit of, a little, a bit of bread. Number 6, the women live longer than men. The women, no, women, because women is used in general meaning. Number 7, we went to the party, but there weren't much people there. Much people or many people. Much is used for uncountable nouns. People is countable, so many people. 8. We looked up and saw an airplane in the sky. An airplane is okay. The problem is with the sky. Airplane in the sky. Number 9. I can't buy it because I only have a few money left. Money is uncountable, so a little money left. 10. My wife and I have lived in United States for several years. United States needs the. My wife and I lived in the United States. Part 2. Complete the story with the words in the box. So, 1. An old man reaches his 120th birthday. An old man. 2. A journalist comes to interview him. A journalist. What's the secret of your life? What's the secret of your long life? He asks. Well, says the old man. Well, says the old man, I don't have, for example, many problems. Number 4, I don't have many problems. I don't drink much tea. I don't drink much tea. I eat a lot of good food. I eat a lot of good food, and I spend a little time every day relaxing. Little sounds correct here. But do you know, number 7 is a little. But do you know what to, but do you want to know my real secret? I never disagree with anyone. That's ridiculous, says the journalist, because the journalist was mentioned before. There must be another secret. A few moments later, the old man says, okay, you're right. You know, even here, he didn't want to disagree with others. Because if you want to disagree, you have to become nervous. You have to, get angry maybe. You have to try to prove yourself right. And it causes a lot of mental pressure. So what is all this for? All right. Thank you. Let's get back to page 3. Page 3, okay. Part 8A, practice. Underline the correct alternatives in comments below. Okay. 1. Here. My neighbor gets on my nerves. She always invites herself over at dinner time, so I have to feed her. How? Which one? Much or many times? Times is countable. How many times have I eaten at her house? None. How many times have I eaten at her house? None. Number 2. Many people, sorry. My apple tree hangs over my neighbor's garden. There are plenty of apples for everyone, but my neighbors steal them. There are plenty of apples for everyone, but my neighbors steal them. Once, some of my apples fell on their grass, so I went to get them. Number 3. In 50 years, I've never had much or many. I've never had much trouble with my neighbors. Trouble is uncountable. Now, on the contrary to problem that is countable, trouble is uncountable. But these new ones are a nuisance. They are so nosy, they won't mind their own business. I spend a lot of time hiding in the kitchen to avoid them. Number 4. My neighbor used to leave all of his windows open. All of his windows open. We can't use a bit of. My cat went in there a few days a week, and played with the goldfish. Then the stupid neighbor bought a dog and it bit my cat. Okay, number 5. I'm a doctor. Several times a year, my neighbors ask, can you give me a bit of advice? Give me a bit of advice. Advice is uncountable. Advice is uncountable. We cannot use an advice. We cannot say many advices. No, advice is uncountable. A piece of advice or a bit of advice. For free, of course. How do they think I make money? Not by offering free advice. So as you see, the comments from 1 to 5 are against the comments in part 6 here. Yeah. Work in groups, look at the situations above and in exercise 6 and discuss. Who do you think is the good or bad neighbor in each situation? What makes a good neighbor? What qualities should they have? So please do these exercises. Try to compare the comments into two exercises and come up with a comparison. Which one do you think sounds right? And discuss with yourself. You don't really need someone else to discuss with. You can discuss. You can write about it if you can't speak on your own. You can write about what you want to say. Good. And let's move on to next page. Page 4. Vocabulary plus. Compound nouns. Compound nouns are the nouns that are formed by joining 2 or 3 words. Mostly there are 2 words that join to each other and make a compound noun. Part 9a. Read sentences 1 to 4. Are they positive, negative, or both? Positive and negative. Number 1. So, I live next to the main road, so it's a bit noisy. Main road, it can be both, I think, because first, it's negative because of the noise. It can also be positive because you won't have to walk a long way to, for example, catch a taxi or bus. Number 2, and by the way, in number 1, main road is the compound noun. Main road. Number 2, there is a wonderful bookstore near where I live. So a wonderful bookstore is all positive. And the compound noun here is bookstore. Bookstore. No, it consists of book and a store. Number 3, there is a lovely public swimming pool by my house, near my house, and it's free for children. So that's quite positive. That's a plus for the neighborhood. Actually, the compound noun in this one is swimming pool. Swimming pool. And number 4, where I live is good for window shopping, but too expensive to buy anything. So window shopping means there is a market nearby your neighborhood, near your living place. It can be negative because it's expensive. And the compound noun here is window shopping. Okay, these compound nouns can be made of different combinations. It can, it can have both sides as nouns, or adjective and noun, verb and noun, or noun and verb. In number 1, main road. Main is adjective, road is noun. So adjective plus noun is for number 1. In number 2, bookstore. Book and store, both are nouns. So A describes it. In number 3, swimming pool. Swimming pool is the compound nouns that consist of a verb and a noun. C, swimming verb, pool noun. And last one, window shopping. Window is a noun, shopping is a verb. All right. There are plenty of compound nouns in English. You can refer to your dictionary, or you can have a Google search about compound nouns, and you can have a large list of compound nouns. But what can we do to learn them well? You can take notes of them, and while you're taking notes and you're writing, try to give examples for that. And as you are making examples, it will stay in your mind for a longer time. And later on, when you use them in different occasions and situations and different contexts, you can make sure that you will not forget them. Tip: compound nouns combine 2 related words. The first word gives us more information about the second. For example, shoe store, mystery teacher, paper bag. What other words make compound nouns with store? So shoe store, we can have grocery store. It can be, for example, bookstore, coffee store. Teacher, math teacher, English teacher, and so on. Bag, paper bag, plastic bag. Compound nouns can be written as one word, or 2 words, or with a hyphen. Look, what is hyphen? Let me show it to you. For example, when you write, for example, self-confidence. Self-confidence is a compound noun. It is, the 2 words of this compound nouns are separated by using a hyphen between them. It's not a dash. It's a hyphen. So this compound noun is a hyphenated compound noun. Hyphenated compound noun. There can be a space between them, or they can join each other. You know, they can be written like one word. Okay, getting back to the book. So, part 10. A. Which words complete the compound nouns? One, we have jam, lights. What can you think of it? Right, traffic jam. So we can say number one is traffic jam or traffic lights. Traffic jam, traffic lights. Number two, alarm rental. Alarm rental. So we can say car alarm or car rental. Car alarm or car rental. Car alarm is the alarm that when a thief wants to, for example, open the car door, it goes off. Or car rental. Car rental is a car that is for rent. You can refer to some car rental, let's say, centers or companies and rent some car. So the car rental is a car that is for rent. By the way, I used the verb for alarm. What was the verb? The verb was go off. Go off. When an alarm goes off, it starts making sound. We have alarm, your alarm clock. Okay. In the morning it goes off and wakes you up. So okay, next one, number 3, center mall. So for mall it is, I think, familiar. What mall? Shopping mall. Shopping center, shopping mall. Number 4. Number 4, super outdoor. Super what? Supermarket. Outdoor market. Supermarket, so you know there are big shops that you can find everything. Outdoor market. Outdoor market is a market that is outside, like flea market, open air area. Number 5, elementary language. Elementary school, language school. Number 6, sports city. Sports center, city center. Sports center, city center. Number 7, high one-way. High street, one-way street. What is high street? High street is the main street in the town, with a lot of let's say stores and shops, and a large number of houses are there. One-way street is the street that you cannot come back. When you are driving, you cannot drive back in that street. You have to just go. One-way street. Detached, detached or row. Detached row. Detached house or row house. Detached house or row house. What's detached house? Detached house is single house. It is independent, detached house. And what is row house? Row house or townhouse are the houses, like the houses that are made in complexes, and they are given to employees of some companies or factories or organs. They are row houses. They are similar to each other. We can also call them terraced house or town house. Townhouse, terraced house.